And it looked like Paige Bueckers has broken her silence about this matchup against Caitlin Clark.
I played a game against Caitlin in the W. Just what was it like? What was the atmosphere like today going head to head with her?
Yeah, it's fun. Anytime we can compete against each other. We're two competitors who just want to win and who have grown up to be playing against each other, playing with each other. So it's great. And the environment's great here. I feel like every game is just sellout. And so they have a great home court advantage. So overall, yeah, great environment.
Caitlin Clark just handed Paige Bueckers a wake-up call that's going to echo through the entire season. Their first professional showdown wasn't just a game, it was hyped everywhere as the clash of future legends. Social feeds were flooded with graphics and promos calling it the battle that would define the next decade of women's basketball. And then Caitlin Clark walked in and turned it into a 102-83 beatdown. Yes, Paige Bueckers had a respectable 21 points, solid rookie numbers. But Clark? She went full floor general, 14 points, 13 assists, 5 steals, commanding the court like it was her personal stage, and everyone else was just paying rent.
Paige Bueckers, I'm gonna be real, you did your thing, you nice, you did your thing, but you're not Caitlin Clark. Let's just be clear, you're not Caitlin Clark.
And by the way, she is the best whistle in the WNBA. She hacked Sophie Cunningham and somehow was given as an offensive foul, and she fouled Caitlin Clark on a fast break. Caitlin went flying into the rim post, and the refs just ignored it.
This game was an absolute blowout. Dallas Wings didn't know what hit them. Everybody ate in this game. Let's just jump right into it.
Let's talk about why this wasn't even close. Clark's 13 assists came with only 2 turnovers. That's surgical control of the game. The kind of stat line that says, I decide when and how we score. This wasn't just a one-on-one duel. It was Clark conducting a full symphony while Bueckers tried to play a solo on a busted violin.
And for all this Caitlin Clark, Paige Bueckers comparisons, it's not a comparison. Paige Bueckers got a lot of work to do. She's a good player. She got a lot of work to do. She need to get her team to the playoffs. Once she get her team to the playoffs, we can holla. All you Angel Reese fans out there, once she get her team to the playoffs, we can holla. Until then, Caitlin came in and got the worst team in the league directly to the playoffs off the bat. Started out 1-8, went to the playoffs, man.
Paige Bueckers has been going through growing pains while she's been down there in Dallas. They have a 6-16 record, and they simply cannot figure out a way to get it done. Now, ultimately, she performed, man. She played at a very high level. She had 21 points, 4 assists, and 4 rebounds. She was shooting phenomenal from 3. Paige put up a good fight, but ultimately her team just fell short, man.
And yet, here's the funny part. The media keeps trying to invent a rivalry. They've been spinning this Clark versus Bueckers narrative for months, pushing the idea that Paige is some kind of kryptonite to Caitlin's dominance. Then reality hit. Clark dismantled that storyline over 40 minutes and left it smoking at center court.
Let's look at these numbers, man. Caitlin Clark, 14 points, 13 assists. I scored in the game. I scored in the game, bro. Like, come on, man. Just magnificent passing. Only 2 turnovers. She's only had 4 turnovers total in the last 2 games. Really think about that. 24 assists to 4 turnovers in the last 2 games. Okay. Okay.
But here's what the league would love for you to overlook. The cameras caught a blowout, but what they didn't catch was the mental dismantling Clark performed. Every steal was a statement. Every slick dime was a dagger. She didn't just run up the score, she shattered Dallas's belief that they could hang with Indiana. And if you're as hooked on watching Clark crush souls as I am, smash that like button and comment "Fever Forever," because we're witnessing a takeover in real time. Remember, Clark's been battling a groin injury that benched her for 5 games this season. Meanwhile, Bueckers has been healthy and rolling through her rookie campaign. And still, in just her 2nd season, Clark is the one rewriting the record books, while Paige is still trying to figure out how to slow her down. The first half alone told the story. Indiana poured in 64 points, a new franchise record. That's not just running up a scoreboard.
Caitlin Clark, I'm not joking when I say this. Caitlin Clark is Demon Caitlin's back. Demon Caitlin's back. Caitlin swats JJ Quinterly. Watch this here. She swats Quinterly. She screams in Quinterly's face. She then gets the ball, looks straight up, and throws an inch perfect pass to Sophie Cunningham for a layup. If she throws that pass 2 inches lower, it's stolen. 2 inches lower and that pass is stolen. Like, that is something that no other player in this league can do.
That's what we're talking about when we are referring to Caitlin Clark running the show.
Is this what Stephanie White needs to see? To finally say to herself, oh, all right.
Let's get to what really matters, efficiency. 13 assists and just 2 turnovers doesn't just mean Clark found open players, It means she created openings that didn't exist before. That's the entire difference between a star and a transcendent force. The media won't dive deep into that because it kills the "is Bueckers better" debate before it even starts. Think back to how Clark opened her 2025 campaign. First game out, a casual triple-double against Chicago, 20 points, 10 boards, 10 assists, with 4 blocks and 2 steals, in a 93-58 thrashing. While everyone else was still shaking off off-season rust, Clark was 3 steps ahead, making established vets look like they were moving in slow motion. This isn't just another good young player. This is a once-in-a-generation engine driving the entire league forward.
New York Liberty, we can beat them. We already did. The Minnesota Lynx, we can beat them. We already did. We can beat anybody if we play in this Caitlin Clark style. That's just a fact. There ain't a point guard in the world that could mess with her at all. It's not even close.
The Indiana Fever dictated when they run like this. I don't believe there is a team in this league that can beat the Indiana Fever at
and
all.
Hull
Let's go. Hull. Lexi Hull coming down the right here. She's got the ball. She's going to take a step back, way downtown. Bam. She got it.
Statistically, it's jaw-dropping. Last year, she averaged 19.2 points and 8.4 assists in a rookie season that already had historians reaching for their notepads. Now, she's elevating that in year 2, piling more pressure on vets who suddenly realize the league's future is already here, and it's wearing number 22. And yet, beyond the stats, it's the psychological impact that's seismic. You're watching veterans who've spent over a decade grinding in this league now trying to keep pace with a 23-year-old who's treating their milestones like warm-ups. That does things to a locker room. It stirs envy, respect, denial, sometimes all at once.
The Indiana Fever beat the Dallas Wings 102-83. The game wasn't close past the first quarter. We're up by 1 in the first quarter, and that second quarter, we destroy the Dallas Wings in that second quarter. That second quarter, absolutely bombing away. That second, Aaliyah Boston, 7 points. Natasha Howard, 10 points. Caitlin Clark, 5 assists in a second quarter. When her assist numbers are high in a quarter, you know they're playing Caitlin Clark style basketball. You know they're pushing the pace, pushing the tempo.
I'm surprised Stephanie White didn't have a heart attack. I'm surprised she didn't bench all the starters coming out of the half. I'm glad she didn't. Seriously.
If we take the second half against the Atlanta Dream and the first half against the Dallas Wings, that is a 40-minute span of what looks like Caitlin Clark basketball.
But here's where it gets downright embarrassing for the league. Instead of celebrating the obvious, that they have the most marketable athlete in the sport's history, they spent Clark's rookie year trying to humble her. Remember all the petty headlines, the salty vet comments, the refs letting her get knocked around with barely a whistle? They didn't just fail to roll out the red carpet, they nearly pulled it out from under her feet. Imagine having the golden ticket to transform your sport's popularity and trying to clip its wings instead. Meanwhile, Clark has completely transformed Indiana. The Fever were a bottom feeder punchline before she arrived. You only brought them up if you needed an example of how not to run a franchise. Now they are breaking scoring records, packing arenas, and making the other 23 teams look like they're chasing second place.
The playmaking. Y'all see the playmaking, bro? The backdoor passes. Come on, once the 3-ball start rolling again, y'all really in trouble. You see the post game posting up Lil Quinterly. Spin off of her step back. Midi. Y'all said she didn't have a midi. Okay.
When Caitlin has the ball, they are the best show in basketball. And it's easier for Kelsey Mitchell. It's easier for Aaliyah. It becomes easier for Natasha Howard if she buys in. It's easier for Sophie. It's easier for everybody. And then when you've got Ari McDonald, who showed today, by the way, that when Caitlin is off the floor, she can push the tempo too. That is exactly what we've wanted.
Caitlin Clark running the offense, being the innovator of offense, the distributor of offense for the Indiana Fever. This is exactly what we mean. Right here.
Just look at how her teammates fed off her against Dallas. Kelsey Mitchell dropped 20 on 67% shooting. Natasha Howard poured in 18 with 2 steals. The whole roster played like they were on house money, brimming with confidence. That's not luck, that's what happens when you've got a superstar point guard who changes the gravity of the game. Everyone eats because she's running the kitchen. The assist number should have been on every sports ticker, 29 team assists, just one shy of Indiana's all-time record. And Clark directly created nearly half of those. It's not just about scoring, it's about making everyone else better. That's why teammates love playing with her. That's why the Fever suddenly look like they've skipped 5 years of rebuilding. And that's what separates Clark from a talented player like Bueckers. Paige might put up her points, but Clark makes the entire system hum. She elevates role players into threats. She gives good players the belief they're stars. That ripple effect is why Indiana looks like a team nobody wants to face come playoff time.
Caitlin Clark is now has the 5th most double-doubles with points and assists in WNBA history. All right, now to put that into some context, she's played 1 year plus into this season, and she's missed 10 games. Think about that for a moment.
Caitlin Clark has reached 200 points and 100 assists this season, the fastest to do so in a single season in WNBA history. Oh yeah, folks, this feels like last year, right? Caitlin Clark broke this record, Caitlin Clark broke that record, she hops into the top 5 here. Oh yeah. Today's game was at least that first half. Woo! Folks, just watch. Let me cook. Let me operate. That's what Caitlin Clark said.
Caitlin Clark showed why she's the best guard in this league. Caitlin Clark showed why, when you give her the ball, the Fever are the best show in basketball.
What's truly outrageous about how Caitlin Clark was treated during her rookie season is how completely backward it was given the WNBA's desperate craving for stars. This is a league that spent decades fighting for mainstream visibility, for casual fans to tune in, for networks to even consider prioritizing their broadcasts. Then here comes Caitlin Clark, the living embodiment of everything they claim to want, a player who can single-handedly flip that narrative, put eyeballs on screens, sell out buildings, and move jersey sales like no one before her. And how did they react? Instead of rolling out the red carpet, they practically tried to trip her on it. They let petty envy and insecure veterans nearly smother the best thing that ever happened to them. Because make no mistake, the financial ripple effect of Clark's mere presence is undeniable. Games involving the Fever instantly became appointment television. Road arenas that hadn't cracked half capacity in years suddenly sold out weeks in advance. Every market she visits becomes an economic event, driving restaurant reservations, hotel bookings, and local media frenzies. And the TV numbers? It's almost embarrassing for the rest of the league. Compare broadcasts when Clark plays to when she doesn't. It paints a stark, uncomfortable truth. Caitlin Clark is the growth engine of the WNBA. Period. Then add what she did on defense in that blowout against Dallas. 5 steals in a single game isn't some lucky box score filler. That's the calling card of a player who sees the floor 3 steps ahead, who lives inside the opponent's playbook, anticipating exactly where the next pass or cut will be. Clark didn't just dismantle Dallas with offense, she dismantled them psychologically by tearing apart their schemes before they could even get rolling. The real dagger to her critics is how she controlled the pace of that game. Remember the narrative they pushed during her Iowa days and even early in her WNBA rookie year, that she was just a shooter, a highlight merchant built on logo threes and viral hype? That storyline fell apart the minute she began orchestrating the entire game like she was moving chess pieces. She picked her spots, speeding it up to catch defenders flat-footed, then slowing it down to milk mismatches. At one point, it almost looked cruel the way she strung Dallas out, forcing them to chase shadows while she decided whether to knife them with a drive or hit Kelsey Mitchell for another corner 3. But maybe the most damning part of that Clark vs. Paige Bueckers showdown was how it obliterated the media's fabricated rivalry. They spent the better part of a year crowning Bueckers the next giant killer, the player who dethroned Clark's iron grip on attention. Headlines teased the clash like it was Bird vs. Magic, a generational standoff. Then tip-off happened and over 40 minutes, Clark systematically stripped that narrative bare. Paige wasn't a rival, she was just the next player on Clark's growing highlight reel of lessons taught. And the context of this masterpiece makes it all the more savage. Stephanie White, Indiana's coach, had been banging the drum for weeks about consistency. The Fever had flickered between flashes of brilliance and puzzling off nights. They needed a stretch where they put it all together. So how did Clark respond? By delivering one of the most dominant, comprehensive performances you'll see this season. She didn't just stabilize the Fever, she elevated them into a unit that looked like they were auditioning for dynasty status. What's often overlooked is the sheer psychological weight Clark brings to every game. That Dallas matchup wasn't simply about racking up stats. It was psychological warfare in sneakers. With each no-look dime, each swipe in the passing lanes, she wasn't just scoring points, she was snatching Dallas's confidence right out of their chest. By the second half, you could see it on their faces. That hollow look that says, how exactly are we supposed to stop this? Even Clark's shooting struggles that night, 4 of 12 from the field, 2 of 7 from deep, paradoxically prove her greatness. Because who else completely dominates a game when their jumper is off? That's superstar territory, dictating outcomes purely through passing genius, floor spacing, gravity, and defensive torment. She didn't need to be hot to humiliate them. Watching how the Fever's offense flowed through Clark provided a free clinic in how modern basketball should be played. This wasn't just about padding assist totals, these were advanced reads, manipulating defenders 2 rotations away, delivering passes into pockets most players don't even realize exist. Dallas often looked like they were chasing ghosts. It was the difference between a system that lives or dies on isolations and one that hums through collective IQ, powered by a point guard who elevates everyone's mental game. And that's exactly what's now reshaping how every team in the WNBA preps for Indiana. Clark has become a one-woman scouting report nightmare. Opponents have to tilt entire defensive schemes to her range, her vision, her manipulation. She bends defensive spacing so dramatically that it unlocks clean looks for role players who wouldn't sniff them otherwise. She's not just a star scorer, she's a strategic contagion who infects the entire game plan. The timing couldn't have been more poetic for the WNBA. Just as critics wondered if the league could ever find a marketable icon to bridge casuals with diehards, Clark burst onto the scene, bringing more crossover mainstream relevance than any player before. So what did many inside the ecosystem do? They tried to humble her. It's laughable in retrospect. Clark has carried herself through this with a poise most 10-year vets don't possess. Against Dallas, she didn't just get a win, she authored a public service announcement about exactly who owns this era. And what was truly revealing, how Clark's teammates responded. Kelsey Mitchell cooked with 20 points on a hyper-efficient 67% shooting. Natasha Howard was all over the place, dropping 18 and pestering passing lanes. Role players looked emboldened, playing looser, cutting harder, shooting with zero hesitation. That's the effect of having a transcendent conductor at point guard. She makes you believe your ceiling is higher than it ever was. 29 team assists, nearly half of them from Clark, should have been the lead on every highlight show. Instead, some outlets tried to salvage the Bueckers angle, harping on her respectable 21 points. They missed the story entirely. Bueckers looked like a promising young pro. Clark looked like she was already sketching out her Hall of Fame bust. The ripple effect of games like this is massive. Other players are now forced to level up. Entire franchises realize they can't just keep trotting out the same lineups and expect to keep pace. They'll have to retool, rethink, maybe even rethink how they draft, because Clark isn't waiting for the league to catch up. Meanwhile, the historical pace she's setting will force statisticians to reorganize record books. Her combined scoring, facilitating, and defensive impact, all while drawing the kind of nightly contact that would send most stars crying for load management, is forging a new template. And the fact she's doing it in her early 20s is borderline absurd. Beyond the court, Clark's dominance resonates culturally. She's not just the face of a franchise, she's becoming a broader symbol of rising above bitterness and short-sighted critics.